My wife handed me a birthday cake that looked nothing like the one I always asked for. It's your favorite, right? Chocolate with extra fudge, she smiled. But I saw her whispering something to our guest. That same guest once sent me a drunken DM saying, "You deserve someone who actually listens to you." Months later, I saw that same cake in a photo online. At her coworker's surprise party, she even used my name on it. I turned 42 this January. It was a small gathering, just some friends, neighbors, my brother Declan, and my wife, Mara. For as long as I can remember, Mara always made me a lemon cake on my birthday. It started back when we were dating in our late 20s. I mentioned once, offhand, that my mom used to bake lemon cake with cream cheese frosting for my birthdays when I was a kid. Mara picked up on it and surprised me with one the first year we lived together in our apartment in Somerville, just outside Boston. It became tradition. Until this year. This year, she handed me a chocolate cake. Extra fudge. No lemon. No cream cheese. Just chocolate. When I looked confused, she smiled way too brightly and said, "It's your favorite, right? Chocolate with extra fudge." I felt my eyebrows pull together. Before I could say anything, I caught her leaning toward a guest, someone I didn't expect to see at all, her coworker from the marketing firm she joined last spring. His name is Shane. Quiet type, polite, bit too polished. I'd only met him once before, and even then, I remember thinking he smiled too long when he shook Mara's hand goodbye. But that night, I saw Mara whisper something to him. He laughed under his breath and tilted his glass toward her. They clinked. And just like that, the uneasy pit in my stomach turned cold. Because Shane once DM'd me. It was 2 a.m. on a Sunday back in November. I was on the couch, half asleep, trying to win an argument with insomnia when his message popped up on Facebook Messenger. "You deserve someone who actually listens to you." I'd stared at it for a long time, unsure what it meant. I never replied. And I never mentioned it to Mara. I wish I had. Mara and I have been married for 12 years. No kids, by choice. I'm a structural engineer. She's in marketing. We have a mortgage in Waltham, 2 cats, a respectable spice rack, and what I thought was a quiet, stable marriage. But things had started changing long before that cake. Little things. She stopped asking me about my day. We used to debrief every night at the kitchen table, mugs in hand like we were on some domestic talk show. That stopped around October. Then there were the work trips. She never used to travel. Now it was every other week. New York, Philly, even once to Austin. She started dressing different too. Tighter blouses. More lipstick. I didn't say anything at first because I didn't want to be that guy. The controlling, paranoid husband. But I noticed. And it felt deliberate. A few months after the birthday party, my brother Declan texted me a photo with a simple message. "Isn't this your cake?" It was from Shane's Facebook. A picture of a cake, chocolate, with extra fudge, and piped in white frosting on top. "Happy birthday, Shane. Love, Mara Blue Heart." It wasn't just the design. It was my birthday lettering. The same cursive swirls. The same M in her name that always looked like a looped heart. And the kicker? The photo was timestamped 2 weeks before my birthday. That was when I realized. She gave me Shane's leftover cake. I confronted Mara that night after dinner. I wish I could say I approached it calmly, with grace and maturity. But I didn't. I went in hot, tossing the photo down on the kitchen table and saying, "What the heck is this?" She didn't even pretend to be confused. She sat down, rubbed her temples, and said, "This again? This again? You knew I saw that message from Shane." "It was a joke," she said. "He was drunk. He didn't mean anything by it. So why'd you whisper to him at my party?" She went quiet. Then, because he knew about the cake. I stared at her. "His cake." She sighed. "I messed up. I ordered the wrong cake, and there was a mix-up at the bakery, and I didn't have time to fix it. I figured you wouldn't notice. But I did. And the thing is, even if she was telling the truth, which, let's be honest, is a stretch, it's the fact that she didn't think it would matter to me. That she didn't bother to make it right. That she shared that inside joke, whatever it was, with Shane instead of me. That night, I slept in the guest room. And it wasn't the first time. A week later, Declan handed me an envelope. He told me it was from someone in Mara's office who didn't want to be involved, but thought I should know. Inside were screenshots of Slack messages between Mara and Shane. Flirty. Borderline romantic. "You're the only one who gets me. Wish we were stuck in meetings together every day. Don't tell Rob, but you're the best part of this job. Don't tell Rob." That was me. My name. Right there. It was more than emotional cheating. It was betrayal built brick by brick, in quiet conversations I wasn't a part of. I showed Mara the envelope. This time, I didn't yell. I just watched her. She read the messages, went pale, and sat down. "I didn't sleep with him," she said. "But you wanted to." She didn't answer. I packed a bag and stayed at Declan's for a while. That was 3 months ago. We've been in counseling. Well, I have. She went to one session and said it wasn't for her. I filed for separation last week. I still don't know how long it was going on, or how far it went. I stopped asking because I realized something. The details don't matter as much as the distance. The silence. The way she stopped seeing me. I was in the same room, the same marriage, and yet invisible. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. And when someone stops listening, maybe it's time you start listening to yourself. Update. I found a lemon cake recipe last weekend. Took me 3 tries to get it right. It's not my mom's. It's not Mara's. It's mine now. And that's a start. This is the first time I'm ever posting anything like this, but I've been a long-time reader, and I always thought, man, I'm glad I don't have stories like these. But here I am, writing one, because I feel like I'm losing my grip on what's real and what's just in my head. I'm 42. My wife Mara is 38. We've been married 12 years, together for 14. We live in Waltham, Massachusetts. Decent house, 2 cats, no kids, by choice, mostly mine at first. I work as a structural engineer. Long hours, but I like what I do. Mara works in marketing. She switched jobs last year and started working for this newer agency in Cambridge. Fast-paced, creative, younger crowd. I was happy for her. Thought it was a good move. Turns out, it might have been the beginning of the end. I just didn't know it yet. My birthday was back in January. It's not usually a big deal for me. I'm low-key about celebrations. But Mara always made a thing out of it. Not over the top, just thoughtful. She'd cook something I liked, invite a few close friends, and she'd always make this lemon cake with cream cheese frosting. It's not something I ever demanded, but she knew it was my favorite, and every year like clockwork, there it was. I never had to ask. That cake kind of became this weird symbol of how she just knew me. Knew what I liked, what mattered to me. This year, different story. She threw a small get-together at our place. A few of my friends from work, our neighbors from across the street, my brother Declan and his wife. And one person I didn't expect, Shane. He's one of Mara's co-workers from her new job. I'd met him maybe twice. Polite guy, clean cut, too put together. Something about him always felt too polished. I don't know how else to explain it. The kind of guy who uses words like synergy unironically. But I wasn't going to be rude. It was a party. I figured maybe they were work friends, and he didn't have anywhere else to be. Anyway, we're in the dining room. Candles are lit, everyone's chatting. Then Mara comes out with the cake. Chocolate. Not lemon. Not even close. It was some triple chocolate thing with thick fudge frosting. She sets it down in front of me and says, in this overly chirpy voice, "It's your favorite, right? Chocolate with extra fudge." I laughed at first. Thought it was a joke. I looked around, expecting someone to jump out with the real cake or something. But no, that was it. I kind of froze. I looked at Mara. She was already turning to whisper something to Shane. I couldn't hear what, but he smirked and leaned in a little. Then they both laughed. Not big, loud laughter. It was the kind you share when you both know something no one else in the room does. I looked at the cake again. It even had my name on it, but the writing was messy, like it had been redone or scraped and fixed. I said, half joking, "Since when do I like chocolate cake?" She blinked, caught off guard for a second, then smiled and said, "You've always liked chocolate." I didn't say anything. I just stared at it. I didn't want to ruin the party, so I played along. I took a slice, ate half, smiled when people sang. But in my head, something cracked. It wasn't the cake. It was the fact that she knew. She knew I didn't like chocolate cake. And yet she made it anyway. That wasn't a mistake. That was something else. The weirdest part is, I might have let it go, if not for what happened a few months earlier. Back in November, around 2 a.m., I got a DM on Facebook. From Shane. I don't know why I was even awake. Probably stress. I'd been pulling some late nights at the time. I see this message pop up out of nowhere. "You deserve someone who actually listens to you." No context. Nothing before or after. I didn't even think he had my profile added. I just stared at it. Thought maybe he was drunk. Or sent it to the wrong person. I never responded. I didn't even tell Mara about it. I figured if it was something, I'd know soon enough. If it wasn't, I didn't want to stir the pot. But after that cake, after the whispering, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I started noticing things after that. Subtle stuff. Mara stopped talking to me about her day. She used to vent about everything. Coworkers, campaigns, what the creative team messed up again. I used to tease her about turning every rant into a TED Talk. But suddenly she'd come home, pour herself a glass of wine, and just sit. When I asked how her day was, I'd get, "Fine." She stopped laughing at my jokes. I mean, not that I'm hilarious, but come on. Even my dad jokes used to get a giggle. Her phone? Always face down now. She used to leave it anywhere. Now it was like an extra limb. She started traveling more, too. Work trips, she said. New York. Chicago. I never thought much of it before, but now, I started wondering. A few weeks after the party, my brother Declan sends me a message. No caption. Just a screenshot of Shane's Instagram. It's a photo of the exact same cake Mara gave me. Same piping. Same swirls. Same lettering style. Except the message on top said, "Happy birthday, Shane. Love, Mara Blue Heart." Posted 2 weeks before my birthday. I felt like someone dropped a brick on my chest. I called Declan immediately. He picked up and said, "I thought you should see it before someone else did." "Is that my cake?" "Looks like it." I didn't know what to do. I stared at that photo for a long time. Every detail matched. She didn't just get a similar cake. She reused it. Or maybe she ordered two, and I got the extra. I don't know what's worse. That night, I waited until Mara got home. She walked in, kissed me on the cheek like nothing was wrong, and went straight to the fridge. I pulled up the photo on my phone and slid it across the counter. Anything you want to tell me? She looked at it, blinked, then put down the wine bottle she was holding. Where did you get this? Instagram. Shane's. Silence. Then she said, it's just a cake. It's the same cake. There was a mix-up at the bakery. I didn't have time to fix it. It was supposed to be lemon, but what? So you gave me his. It's not that deep, Rob. She said it like I was overreacting. Like it was just sugar and flour and frosting. But it wasn't. It was years of feeling known and seen and valued, and suddenly realizing maybe none of that was real. I started digging after that. I'm not proud of it. I went through her messages. Her Slack account was logged in on our shared laptop. I opened it, and what I found made me feel like I was watching a movie where I was the joke character who doesn't realize his wife is slowly falling for someone else. There were messages from Shane. Months of them. Ugh, Rob doesn't get it. Wish I could spend this weekend with you instead. You're the only one who actually listens. She'd said that same line to him. That did something to me. I printed some of them out. I didn't even know why. Maybe to remind myself it was real. Maybe to make sure I wouldn't talk myself out of being angry. When I showed her, she didn't deny it. She just sat there and said, I never slept with him. You didn't need to. She cried. I didn't. I felt hollow. Not angry. Just erased. We're not divorced. Not yet. I'm sleeping in the guest room. She asked if we could work on things. But I don't know what's left to work on. She gave my birthday cake to someone else. And laughed about it behind my back. She knew what that cake meant. That's the part that breaks me the most. I think the thing that messed me up most was how casual she was about it. Not angry, not panicked. Just resigned. Like she'd already run through every excuse in her head before I ever caught on. After I showed her the messages, she didn't even try to grab them. She didn't rip them up or shout, or even deny they were real. She just sat down at the kitchen table like her legs gave out, and looked at me like I was the one who broke her heart. I didn't want to hurt you, Rob. Then why'd you do it? She didn't answer right away. I don't know, she said eventually. I didn't mean for anything to happen. It just got complicated. I hate that phrase. Got complicated. Like our marriage is a math problem that spiraled out of her control. So I asked her straight out, are you in love with him? That was the only time she looked me in the eye that whole night. She blinked like she didn't expect the question. And then she said, no, I don't think so. But you thought about it. She didn't nod. She didn't speak. But her silence was an answer in itself. I didn't sleep at all that night. Just laid there on the pull-out couch in the guest room, staring at the ceiling, listening to the radiator click. The next morning she was gone before I woke up. No note. No coffee. No mention of what happened. Like we just skipped that whole chapter. Declan called around noon to check on me. You good? No. You want me to come over? No. I just need to think. He didn't press. He never does. He's the kind of brother who shows up when you really need him, but never forces it. I appreciate that more than I ever say out loud. I took the day off work, called in, and said I had a stomach bug, which wasn't a complete lie. I felt sick, just not in the way that could be fixed with ginger ale and crackers. I opened Mara's laptop again. Not to snoop. At least that's what I told myself. But I had questions. Holes I couldn't stop poking at. That's when I saw the shared Google Calendar. I never used it. She set it up when she started her new job, said it would help us keep track of dinners, travel, events, all that couple Y stuff. I forgot it even existed. I clicked through the last few months, and there they were. Entries like, meeting, Shane, 6 p.m., The Grotto, Beacon Hill Strategy Review Shane, Hotel Indigo, one night, not labeled as dinner or work travel like the rest. Just vague enough to look normal, but clear enough if you knew what to look for. I Googled The Grotto. Italian place. Not a meeting spot. Definitely a date spot. I stared at the calendar, scrolling week after week, watching their entries stack up like quiet footsteps leading out of my life. When Mara came home that night, I was sitting at the kitchen table. No laptop, no printed messages. Just me. She looked surprised too. See me. You're home early. I didn't go in. Everything okay? That question landed like a cruel joke. I motioned to the seat across from me. She's Saturday, you've been seeing him for a while, haven't you? She didn't argue. Just said, I'm sorry. How long? It didn't start like that. How long? She rubbed her forehead. We got close over the summer. But it didn't get physical until October. So you did sleep with him? Once. I regretted it. You gave me his leftover birthday cake, Mara. Her face went white. It wasn't leftover. He posted the picture. It was his cake first. Same handwriting. Same icing. 2 weeks before mine. Silence again. I panicked, she said. The bakery called the day of your party. They said the lemon cake got mixed up and couldn't be done in time. Shane's cake was already there. I didn't know what to do. So you gave me his. I figured you wouldn't notice. That's what finally broke me. It wasn't the affair. It wasn't the messages. It was the fact that she banked on me not noticing. That I'd eat whatever was put in front of me, smile, and go on like I didn't matter. I didn't yell. I just stood up and walked out. Went to the park down the road, sat on a bench in the cold, and watched people walk their dogs. And I realized something I hadn't wanted to admit until that moment. I didn't trust her anymore. Not just with another man, but with me. With who I was. What mattered to me. What hurt me. That night, I started sleeping at Declan's. Took a suitcase and my shaving kit. Mara didn't ask me to stay. She just watched me pack, arms crossed, tears in her eyes, but she didn't stop me. She knew it was already done. It's been a few weeks now. We've had a couple of tense phone calls. One in-person meeting with a couples counselor that felt more like a hostage negotiation. I asked her if she was still seeing Shane. She said no. I don't believe her. It doesn't even matter anymore. I'm living out of a suitcase in Declan's spare room. It's not bad, to be honest. He and Allie just redid the place. Turned what used to be a cluttered junk room into a little guest suite with a desk, a futon, and a sad-looking plant I keep forgetting to water. It's clean, it's quiet, and it doesn't smell like the vanilla candles Mara always lit around the house. But every morning I wake up and forget where I am for a second. I'll reach for my old nightstand or expect to see our cat, Junebug, curled up at my feet. She used to follow me to bed every night like clockwork. Now she probably curls up with Mara. I know it shouldn't bother me, but it does. Sometimes I still get texts from Mara, but they're short, safe, carefully worded. Things like, the mortgage is due Friday. Let me know if you want to split it the usual way. Or, Junebug threw up again. Vet appointments Monday. I'll take her. Nothing emotional. No, I miss you. No, can we talk? Just logistics. Like we're business partners who used to share a bed. I haven't told my parents yet. They live out in Pittsfield, and my mom would drive down immediately with a casserole and 100 questions I don't have the answers to. One night last week, I went back to the house. Not to talk to her, just to grab more of my stuff. She was at work. At least, that's what I assumed. I let myself in with my key. The house was quiet, too quiet. That kind of stillness that makes you feel like you're trespassing in your own life. I went upstairs to our bedroom, opened the closet, and started pulling out shirts. Most of my things were already packed, but I'd left some jackets and a pair of boots. That's when I saw it. A shoebox on her side of the closet. Lid slightly cracked. The same box where we used to keep old cards and letters. Anniversaries, birthdays, even the note I left on the windshield of her car the day I proposed. I don't know what made me look inside. Maybe I wanted to see if she still kept those things. If any of it still mattered to her. But inside wasn't my handwriting. Or our old memories. It was a stack of folded notes. Printed emails. Doodles. All from Shane. One was written on hotel stationery. Can't stop thinking about you. Your laugh is stuck in my head. Another was just a napkin with a heart drawn in the corner. Her name inside it. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at them like they were crime scene photos. This wasn't a one-time mistake. It wasn't a moment of weakness. It was a full-blown thing. A relationship. With inside jokes and secret notes and God knows what else. My chest felt tight. Not angry tight, just small. Like I'd been shrunk down into someone else. Someone who didn't know his wife at all. I didn't take the box. I didn't destroy it or throw it across the room like some dramatic movie scene. I just closed it. Put it back where I found it. Because at that point, I didn't want revenge. I just wanted out. I texted her that night. We need to talk about dividing things. She replied, okay. When's good for you? No question mark. No emotion. Just okay. A few days later, I met with a lawyer. Just to ask questions. No papers filed yet. But I needed to know what it would look like. It's funny how cold and clean divorce is on paper. Percentages. Asset division. Property lines. They don't factor in lemon cakes or late-night whispers or the sound of someone laughing too much at someone else's joke. Declan came with me. Sat in the waiting room while I talked to the attorney. When I came out, he didn't say anything. Just handed me a coffee and nodded like, yeah, I get it. We drove around for a bit after that. No destination. Just talking. You ever think she was unhappy for a long time? I asked him. Maybe, he said. But that doesn't make this okay. I keep wondering what I missed. You didn't miss anything, Rob. She hit it. Yeah, but why him? He didn't have an answer. Neither do I. It's weird what grief looks like when it's about a marriage. It's not just sadness. It's disorientation. You look around your life and start wondering what parts were ever real. Did she ever love me as much as she said she did? Did she ever plan on telling me? Did she feel guilty when she kissed him? Or did she feel relieved? I'll probably never get those answers. But I can't stop asking the questions.